Beloved, in this world, we're going to make mistakes. We're not saying that we want to make mistakes, but even though how much we try not to make mistakes, we can still, and we are still going to make mistakes. But the good news is that God is full of grace and forgiveness. Again, I want us to see how much less painful it will be if we obey God's will first time, than to have to find out the hard way. Isn't it easier to obey God the first time than to be like the Israelites who have to go another 40 years going around in the wilderness, and everyone who rebelled against God died before they were finally allowed to go to the promised land? Isn't it more blessed to obey Him now when He says, do what I'm asking you to do? And what is it God is asking you to do? Well, here at ICF, I know there's one important thing that God wants all of us to do, and that is to grow in Him. Because when we're all grown up spiritually, there will be no more struggles. Who will do this? Who will do that? Who's going to lead this? Who's going to lead that? And no one will say, that's his responsibility, or that's her responsibility. But everybody will just work together. That's what God wants us to do in this church, to grow. And in order for us to grow, we need to be in our discipleship. And if you're thinking that if discipleship is not for you, you are mistaken. Because unless God Himself says you are perfect already, then that's the only time that you can say, yes, I don't need you. And as long as we're here, as long as we are in this earth, we need to continue to grow and help others grow into this. And believe me, you will hear me say this all the time. Because I believe with all my heart that this is what God wants us to do, to grow in Him. And how are you going to grow and help others grow if you're not going to be willing to submit to Him? So my friends, my beloved, if you are struggling with our discipleship, just think about it as coming from the Lord, not from Pastor Sam. Because Pastor Sam is not perfect, and Pastor Sam is not God. I believe I'm just being obedient to what God is telling us to do. And that will only happen if we're going to humble ourselves before God and say, yes, Lord, I want to be obedient. And I'm guaranteeing you will not regret it. You will not regret it. Let's pray. Father, we want to learn more. And I want to go on some more with this chapter. But then, Lord, you can always pause and stop and meditate and reflect. And even confess when for some moments we judged Isaac. For some moments we judged Jacob. For some moments we have judged Rebecca and Esau. Lord, there's no way. You don't have any right to judge anyone. And this has been here for us to be warned, to be reminded, and to realize that we need your grace, we need your help. So thank you for your words, and we appreciate it with all our hearts, Lord, and help us to do what you have asked us to do. Praise you. Amen.